But they walk into this place and they just go boom, boom, boom. No retaliatory fire. Nobody has a gun. And no matter who it is, and if that guy had a gun, and if Big Al had a gun, and if a couple of people had a gun, would have been a whole, the bullets are going now in the different direction. They're going this way. They're going cross. You wouldn't have had the problem. You would have had death, but you wouldn't have had the problem. So you lost in Paris 130 people, and you have many more going to die. You have people that are tremendously badly hurt. The hospitals are loaded up with people. Same thing in California. You have the 14 people, these two horrendous married couple, radicalized, goes in, shoots 14 people that gave them wedding presents and wedding parties and everything else. I mean, they knew them. They knew all of them, and they went in and killed them. And you have a lot of people in the hospital there, too. No guns, they had no guns. Even at the military base a year ago, we had the 5 soldiers. A couple of them were highly decorated, excellent marksmen. They had a gun-free zone. How stupid is that on a military? If we have to have a gun-free zone on a military base, I would end that first day. It's ending. But just to me, when I see that, we trust our lives with the military and with the police. And by the way, I have to tell you, you have great, I got endorsed by the New England whole police deal. And I've been endorsed by so many police. I don't know if they're endorsing anybody else. Every time I go to an area, the cops love Trump, okay? And I love them. I love them. They're great. They're great. They're great people. And, they'll take one incident which was a mistake or something bad or some guy goes wacko or something, and it happens, and that'll be on television for weeks and weeks, and the 99.999% of the time you'd never see the good stuff. But we wouldn't even be sitting here if it wasn't for the police. So, we have to be thankful. No easy job. No easy. And by the way, I thought they did a great job in California. That was not an easy one. And even Paris, you look at that, that was like a war when you look at it. Take a look at the vehicles. There was nothing left of them with so many bullets and everything else. So we have to get tough and we have to get smarter. We have to be vigilant. And it all began when I announced I was running for president. I came down the escalator, took a deep breath. It was like Academy Awards. Even now, look at all those cameras back there. Isn't that amazing? Wow, that's a lot of press for early in the morning when they're supposed to be. Aren't you? They were supposed to be in Iowa. Boy, that's a lot of press. They're all supposed to be in Iowa. Maybe they just followed me in, They'll be here. They'll be here starting Tuesday, but they're supposed to be in Iowa. That's a lot of press. I figured, this is good. Maybe we won't have so many cameras on us, right? It's always tougher. You make speeches. And every time there's like red lights. Look at all the red lights. You have all these cameras going. These other guys come in, they make speeches. There's nobody around. They have no audience. They have no cameras. They have nobody. They make a speech. How about the one guy, O'Malley? He goes to, right? Was it New Hampshire or was it Iowa where he's sitting with the one guy? He sat with one guy for an hour. One guy, the weather was bad, it was a little snowy, so only one guy showed up, right? He sat with him for an hour, talked to him and talked to him and talked to him, and the guy leaves and the press says, well, will you vote for him? No, I won't be voting for him. This is a guy. Why is he running? I can say it about some Republicans too, but why is O'Malley running? What's that all about? O'Malley. You know what his claim to fame is? He was the mayor of Baltimore, okay? He left them a great, great blueprint for the future. O'Malley. And every time he gets up, he talks about Trump. I don't know. They talk about Trump. When they talk about Trump, we talk back, right? But here's a guy, that guy has what do you think his chances of getting the nomination are? Yeah. He says slightly less than 0, yeah. What a waste of time. I guess he gets maybe more speech money. I do wonder why. I see some of the guys, including on the Republicans, they have 0. One has less than 0. It was a mistake. I think it was a typo. They have a 0 and the arrow is pointing left. It's true. And I say, what does that mean? Does that mean less than 0? I'm trying to figure out, how do you have less than nothing, okay? And then and then you see him at the debates, you see him. I don't want to mention the name Gilmore or anything like that because I don't know him. I never heard of him. I don't know who he is, but I know he's at the debates. And, I watched Pataki, who had nothing, 0. And I say, why do they hang in so long? I think if I had a 0, if I knew I was getting close to the 0 level, I'd go like this. I would bail out so fast. I mean, it can't be good for their brand, right? It can't be good for their brand. But it's been so interesting, the process. So I'm coming down the escalator, I see, and I said to my wife, boy, it takes guts. You know, it takes guts to run for president. I never did this stuff before, and that's why I'm so happy. You know, I love the way it's going. I never thought this would happen, where we have 22-point leads and 25-point leads. Not 25, I mean 25-point leads. And first place in every single poll, statewide and nationwide. And we want to keep it that way. That's why you have to vote, by the way. But we want to keep it that way. And we're going to make our nation so great again. But I come down the escalator, and the whole thing was really based largely, and it was very important. It was based on trade, because I'm really good at that. Carl Icahn, and by the way, I want to read a couple of these because they were so great. Some of the money. But Carl Icahn last night gave $500,000 with one phone call. He's a great businessman. Richard Lefrak, big builder, gave $100,000. Howard Lorber, $100,000. A rich guy from New York. Here's a guy that 2 months ago would have loved his name, but now I don't know. He's going silent. I don't know. It sounds like he's getting a divorce. I don't know. Something's going on. He didn't want his name mentioned, but he gave $1 million. A friend of mine. Phil Ruffin from Las Vegas gave $1 million. Ike Perlmutter, the head of Marvel, an amazing guy, an amazing businessman, and his wife Lori, they gave $1 million for the vets, all for the vets, you know. So I got to mention that name. So I came down and I started talking about illegal immigration to start off with, and it was a firestorm. You remember that. And you wouldn't even be talking about illegal immigration. And Sheriff Joe Arpaio just endorsed me. You saw that, right? So I was always the toughest on immigration. Everyone said, oh, that's terrible, he's too tough, terrible. Now they're all coming right to me. Now they're trying to even go to the other side of me. And all I have to do is say, Sheriff Joe endorsed me. That's the end of that, okay? Because Sheriff Joe is serious into that world. But you know what happened? It is true. People didn't think there was like the problem. And it was not even going to be a subject. And you remember the heat. Rush Limbaugh, who's an amazing guy, said, nobody has received more incoming after I announced than Donald Trump. He's never seen anything like it. And then people started saying he's right. And then you had tremendous crimes that were terrible. Kate in San Francisco was killed, shot in the back by a illegal immigrant, came over here 5 times. You had Jamil, this wonderful young guy, young, like 17-year-old kid, shot in the face 3 times, just walking down the street to see his father for no reason. They were out to get him, even though they never met him or anything. They just wanted to set an example. Disgusting. And recently, a couple of months ago, a woman, I mean, this is, by the way, many. You could look yesterday, you could look the day before. But a woman who was 65 years old, a veteran, raped, sodomized, and killed by an illegal immigrant. Shouldn't have been in the country. So we're going to build a wall, and we're going to have a great border, and we're not going to let people come in unless they come in legally. We're going to let them come in, but we want them to come in legally into this country. And you know the amazing thing, I go all over, and I don't think of New Hampshire as, because I know I have so many friends up here, it's incredible, and so many people, and it's such a beautiful place. I don't think of it in terms of heroin and drugs, right? You know, you just don't think. If you didn't know, because the picture of, you know, you see the streams and you see all the beautiful trees and you don't think of it. But every time I go, because I now have gotten to know so many people over the last couple of years, and such a big problem, right, with the heroin, and such a big problem. In fact, I hear it more here than I hear it any place in the country. It's a tremendous problem. And it comes over the southern border. We're going to stop it, folks. We're going to stop it. And then we have to help. Because there are so many people, kids, but there are so many people that are addicted right now. We're going to help them. We got to help them because we got to get them through it. It's tough. It's so much easier if you don't start. You know, if you don't start. I always tell people, no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. I say no cigarettes, okay? But no drugs. I told my kids, Ivanka said to me, Dad, you're driving me crazy with that. She's like 3 years old. She didn't even know what drugs and alcohol and cigarettes are. I said, Ivanka, no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. She said, what are they? As she grow older, she'd say, Dad, okay, just leave me alone, you know. But I would literally just drum it into them because it's just so important. Well, here's a step that we're talking about because you have so many young people and other people, but you have so many young people in this area that are just, you know, just in trouble. we got to help them. We got to really help them. And we got to keep this crap out of here so that other people don't go for it. So sad. So sad. I should mention, I mentioned to one person I would do it. I don't know how you feel about this, but I have to do it. So you have a newspaper up here, the Union Leader. Do you know about this newspaper? I'll be honest. Look, I don't care. The press is fine. Some are good, some are bad. But I have to give. This guy's a bad guy. His name is Joe McQuaid. He's a bad guy. He's a bad person, and he uses his weight, pushes his weight around, thinks he's hot stuff, and all of a sudden, I announce I'm running, and he calls and he says, "Well, anytime you want to come see me, okay." So that's fine. I don't mind that. It's fine. And lots of things happen, strange things with him. And I see it over here, and I just have to give this because this is first of all, it's a dying paper. It's going to be dead soon. They had a Wall Street Journal article last week that was so devastating, and a lot of it's caused by McQuaid. He's incompetent. So what happens is he writes these editorials, these vicious editorials. But here's what's happened. During the course of the last 6 months, he's asked me for ads. In fact, I have a letter here. Can you believe how stupid this guy is? Listen to this. I just got this letter. Look. Holy mackerel, dated January. What's today's date? 29th. I got this letter today. Anyway, it says, "Hi, Amanda. Hope all is well. Ba, ba, ba. Holiday. Great. We want ads, okay?" Can you imagine the guy asking me for ads? Now, this has gone on for months and months and months. Every time I see him, we need ads, we need ads. I actually took out ads. He asked me to take out ads. I took out some ads. For Doral in Miami. I don't know. If you could give him an ad, get him off my back. The guy has bad news. So, okay. But much more importantly than that, so he's asking for ads all the time. He asked me to do a stupid debate. Now, the guy had a debate, remember? The day before Fox. So he decides because he's, McQuaid, and you used to have Loeb, who was a really smart guy. No, he was. And this guy is like he's like an ant compared to Loeb. Loeb was a respected guy and a real guy. And what happened is he calls and he says, "Would you do our debate?" I said, "I'll do it." First of all, I'd never debated before. The first big debate was the Fox debate, which set all records in the history of cable television, was the next day. I said, "Joe, I'd like to do it, but it sounds strange. I'm doing it for you, and everybody's talking about the Fox, and nobody knew about this." He said, "Well, it's really important." I was the only one that didn't do it. I said, "I don't want to do it." And that was the one where Jeb Bush did it, and he made a fool out of himself. Do you remember? He destroyed himself. That was a disaster for Jeb Bush and a couple of others. But I said, "I can't do it. I won't do it." And it was very, he was very nasty. Then he calls, he said, James Foley, who we love, he said, "Would you make a speech on behalf of James Foley?" So I came up, I made a speech. "Would you give a contribution on behalf of James Foley?" So I gave $25,000. I think it was 10,000, 25,000, a lot of money. And I think that's great. I gave it to the parents of the foundation. Then he goes, "You have to do me a favor." Always calling, asking me for favors. What? This was a few weeks ago, just before he endorsed Christie. Christie's not, believe it. And by the way, Chris Christie's a friend of mine. Got no chance. Got no chance. Zero. He's gone down since he got the endorsement. So I get a call from Joe McQuaid, and he goes to me, he's a stupid man. He goes, "Donald, could you do me a favor?" "What?" "Chris Christie's not on the grown-up stage. They called it. He said he's on the children's stage. Could you do, meaning he didn't make the first stage. Could you do a tweet? Because I have between Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, I have like almost 12 million people. It's a lot. It's a lot of power. Could you tweet that Chris Christie should be on the big stage? I said, "Really? That's like hard to do." "Well, I would really appreciate it." I said, "Oy." So, okay. So I tweeted, "Too bad Chris Christie's not on the stage. Would be nice if he was." People called me up and said, "Well, what's that all about? What do you care?" I don't care. But he called me up, "Would you tweet?" But by the way, when he did that, I figured he was going to endorse Christie. But, who knows, right? I was very nice. Look, honestly, I was nice to him all through. Then he calls up, he goes, "Would you do me a favor? Would you come up and have lunch with me? I want to play a round of golf with you at this club," whatever the hell his club is. I think so. Yes. He wants to play a round of golf. He's got friends that want to play with. I said, "Joe, I'm not Obama. I don't have time. I don't have time." It's true. No, it's true. I can't do it. I can't do it. And it's so true. By the way, he's a bad guy. He's a liar. He's a bad guy. So he goes, well, it's really important.